Welcome to Roofing Road Trips, the podcast that takes you on a thrilling journey across the world of roofing. From fascinating interviews with roofing experts to on-the-road adventures, we'll uncover the stories, innovations, and challenges that shape the rooftops over our heads. So fasten your seatbelts and join us as we embark on this exciting roofing road trip.
Hello and welcome to Roofing Road Trips from Roofers Coffee Shop. My name is Heidi Ellsworth, and today we are here to talk about one of my favorite topics, marketing. And that's marketing for the roofing contractors. It has changed so much over the years, over the decades since when I first started with Yellow Pages. And we have so much to talk about, but really, as you look at marketing, sometimes old is new. So we want to talk about how do you incorporate everything, looking back and looking forward and making sure you have the best marketing plans. So we brought our friends and experts in this area from gFour to visit with us today. Felipe Ros, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Heidi. Super excited to be here and to nerd out on a topic that we love.
I love that. Nerd out. Yes, this is going to be a great 30 minutes. Let's start with an introduction. If you could introduce yourself, I would love to hear a little bit of your background and then tell us about about gFour.
Yeah, absolutely. So, my background, I'm the president here at gFour, so do a little bit of everything. Going back before gFour, I've been here for almost 3 years now. And before that, in my prior life, worked in the financial world, mostly helping small businesses, buy and sell small businesses, come in, help them scale. Spent a lot of time looking at, go-to-market strategies, marketing, how to, take it from one level to the next level, and eventually met the founders of gFour. So gFour was founded about 15 years ago by a gentleman, actually a couple, Brian and Addie. They come from the home improvement industry, saw the need for having systems in place to go after your repeat customers, those referrals, those reviews. So met them, fell in love with the concept of the business, and joined gFour about 3 years ago to kind of help continue to scale the business. A little bit more about gFour. I mentioned it at super high level, but we've been in business for about 15 years now. We only work with home improvement contractors. I would say about 60% of our, clients are roofers. So have a lot of experience working with roofers and kind of the marketing strategies that work specifically for roofers. I have clients all over the country. In terms of what we do, really what we try to help contractors get more revenue from the leads that they already have. We think that's foundationally super, super important. And we'll jump into the strategies that we kind of really like to employ, but we talk about putting a system in place to really help drive, repeats, referrals, rehash, you name it. So that's a little bit about gFour. Happy to get into it a little bit later, but that's us.
I love it. I have to tell you, having worked with roofing contractors for over 30 years, referrals, reviews, that's the heartbeat, right? Because just like I always say, contractors want to hear from contractors, homeowners want to hear from homeowners. They want people that they trust. And so, but before we kind of dive in there, I really would love to talk to you a little bit, having seen marketing plans with businesses and all the things that have been happening over the last decade with digital, Google ads, all of that. I'd like to talk about what you're seeing in the market right now when it really comes to contractors embracing more of a hybrid marketing model, meaning they aren't just focused on one thing, but they really are looking at all the touch points that they need for a strong marketing plan. Can you kind of talk about that and what you're seeing?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're seeing more of that now. And I feel like it's one of the things that we've been talking about for a long time, from actually the beginning of gFour it's just good business, right? Having diversification in your lead sources. as a business owner, when most of your net worth is tied to the business, you really don't want to be in a situation where 90% of your revenue comes from a lead source, and all of a sudden that lead source, the cost just skyrockets or it stops working, right? So we've always, argued that it's prudent to have a very diversified lead source and trying different things. So I think especially in the current environment that we're in right now, where there's rapid change, lots of, AI, new buzzwords, new lead sources coming in, diversifying away from a single lead source is very important. But then also having that foundational kind of marketing pillars in place, which we call, the repeats, the referrals, the rehashes, a very strong system in place there. So that you can kind of get the benefits of then trying out new lead sources.
Yeah. And I'm seeing exactly the same things. And one of the things, that let's just be private equity has come into the industry in such a strong way. And they tend to be very formula, right? This is how you do it. And this is your formula. And there's a lot of different, touch points that they have with that. But one of the things I've been seeing with local contractors who want to, who maybe are not private equity, but just want to keep their brand out there, they have to be so focused on their relationships and the relationships of past customers and of customers who have heard of them through things that build trust. I always say the sign in the little league field, right? Yeah. Who doesn't trust somebody who advertises with the Little League? Those kind of things, because then as your neighbor is saying, yeah, I use these guys, they're really great. And they're like, oh yeah, I saw they support our Little League team too. It kind of goes around. So it's not just one thing anymore. And I think that giving back to the community and really strong relationship building is so important. And I'm going off here, Felipe. I'm onto this, but talk to me about that.
No, I agree. I mean, that's at the end of the day, roofing businesses, home improvement businesses, these are local services, right? Local businesses. And it's a high ticket purchase, high trust, right? So you're going to ask your neighbor that did it, or just kind of family members, things like that. And so I think, yeah, if you think about the smaller mom and pop type of roofers or founder owned ones, really leveraging that relationship that you have, that reputation that you have in your local markets is one of the strengths and levers that you can pull, right? And from our perspective, when we put together all of the appreciation, sending gifts, campaigns, or even all the post-job completion email communication, we're always taking that from a point of view of the business owner communicating directly to the client, right? Because it's that personalized approach. I think that has a very big impact on those, on just reply rates and the engagement and things like that, which is really important.
It is so important. And I would say over the last 10 years, we had an extreme push from many different sources to contractors saying, they should just spend their money with SEO or with Google ads, or even just purchasing leads. There's been some great success, but there's also been some big misses. And even I think more important now, it's not as much as how it was, but where we're at now with regulations and regulatory and things that are changing. Can you kind of talk a little bit around what the challenges that roofing contractors are having right now on buying leads, lead management, some of the things you're seeing?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think we're all kind of aware of the constant, changes in the space, the lead costs going up. Those are obviously always challenges when you talk about some of these competitive lead sources, specifically around ads. SEO, obviously a big disruption going on in the space now with the ChatGPTs of the world and all of that. So lots of changes happening in that space. Some challenges that we hear from clients and people that the people we talk to. Some data points internally we have is, one was that about 73% of customers think that they could get more repeat and referral business than they actually do. So, that's an interesting one, right? So I think people know it's a low-hanging fruit. They know that there's an opportunity to do more there. And then the other one, goes along with this. We asked them, why? And 65% of people said, it's because of lack of capacity and consistency, right? So those are kind of the trouble points that they're having. So, internally, what we say is you need a system in place to be able to system and process to be able to go after some of the other lead sources, right? Not the SEOs of the world, not the ads of the world, but again, what we call the foundational marketing things that need to be in place. Just like having a website, right? No one's going to, I think everyone would argue that, hey, having a website is a foundational piece of having a business and your marketing strategy. We argue that having a strategy to have, how are you going to go after your repeat customers, get into the house again? How are you going to, get referrals after that job is complete? How are you going to get reviews? What are you going to do once, if the customer doesn't sell from a rehash perspective, right? So those kind of 4 strategies, we'd say, hey, this is foundational. Before you start pouring money into ads, you need to have the foundation, your house in place, right? Because then that will allow you to continue to scale. So I think those are, big strategies to focus on for anyone that's kind of in the marketing space for 2026.
Yeah, so true. Back in the day, I used to do a presentation on this and I would show filing cabinets, right? Filing cabinets and all the missed opportunities right here in your filing cabinets. And now today, obviously it's in your CRM. Hopefully you have a CRM. Wow. It's in your CRM and that's where your missed opportunities are. So let's talk about a little bit about that, because I want to talk not just about getting in front, but I love how you said the contractors need to think about a strategy. So why are they still relevant, right? Why is that roofing company still relevant? Do they have new products? Do they have new solutions? One of my favorite soapbox I've been on lately is service and maintenance for residential contractors, right? Cleaning their gutters, putting up their Christmas lights, all those kind of things. So talk what you've seen a little bit about how contractors are really utilizing past customers and reintroducing themselves to them.
Yeah, absolutely. On the past customer side of things, there's a couple of, I would say, strategies or tactics that we implement, right? And I'll tell you, then kind of how that results into additional revenue. But, one that we love and we see a lot about, it's a low cost, but just nurture campaigns, email nurture campaigns, right? Very easy. Again, it's one of the things that's it's not rocket science, right? It's not very difficult. When you say everyone knows that they should be doing it, not everyone's doing it. Put those past customers into a nurture campaign, staying in touch. What are those other services that you do, right? And kind of, because the homeowner will forget about you. You might, for us, for the homeowner, it's just another check, a checkbox that's completed, and they move on with their lives. So you have to stay in top, reminding them of all the services that you do, so that you do have the opportunity to get back in the house. From a roofing perspective, one of I think the biggest missed opportunities is you go in and you do, a quick fix on the roof, but you don't do the full replacement, because you forgot to stay on top of, stay top of mind. You already got in the house. You already have the relationship. why that you should never be losing that job to your competitors. So how do you put marketing strategies with email, with potential print newsletters is another one that we love, to sending it to your past customers, right? Staying top of mind with that so that when there is another opportunity to buy again, they remember your name, they remember who to call, who to email. They can quickly search on their inbox, who the contractor was and get in contact with you. So I think that's a big one, super low hanging fruit there.
Yeah. And you know what? I want to, you made me think of something as you were talking about that, Sue. We're talking about homeowners or building owners. It's both, right?
Yep.
Anybody that end user, but there's also other folks that you want to continue to nurture and build those relationships with. And when you said like doing a repair, real estate agents, right? Real estate agents. I know a lot of contractors who do a beautiful referral appreciation programs with their real estate agents because they're being constantly or getting on partnerships with other, if you don't do windows, talk to a window dealer. But I remember when we were really kind of looking at this and all the different folks that are out there that determine that sale, contractors really, again, making that, using the data of where their leads are coming from, what their homeowners are doing, their building owners, whoever it may be, I think is so important. So how do contractors manage those long-term lead management? That's the trick. We all know it, but how do they do it?
Yeah, no, it's another one of those like low hanging fruits, right? Like you talk about the real estate agents and other referral relationships, right? Like those are extremely valuable relationships for you to be nurturing as a contractor. So how do you stay in front? Again, we from our perspective, what we do and help our clients do is put specific programs in place that communicates to those specific people, that reminds them about the referral programs that you have in place, the services that you have in place. So when we talk about, referral relationships, one of the biggest flaws we see, and again, this is another data point that we have internally and from our data, is that about 82% of referrals come more than 3 months after the job was complete. So, for us, what that means is that, referrals happen not just immediately after the job is complete, but it happens 6 months, 12 months, 24 months, right? So, and we know that too, that the biggest flaw with referral programs in most contractors is that it lasts a single day, right? It's the one day you tell the homeowner or you tell the person, the real estate agent, about your referral program during the sales appointment or after the walkthrough or whatever. And that's it. You don't remind them about your referral programs or how important referrals are. So having again, system and process in place to communicate and try to extract those is one of the core strategies of, we say, how do you drive more of that lead source? You got to stay top of mind. You got to put a system in place that kind of tries to make sure that you keep getting those. But I think it's especially on the commercial side of things, where you talked about, like, in terms of the real estate agents, the contractor, the painters that, are referring business to you and things like that, like having a specific nurture and communication track just for that is something that's, super valuable. Not a lot of people are doing, and something that we definitely kind of endorse and try to put together for a lot of the top roofers.
Yeah. I think there is a changing mentality in the roofing industry, and it's probably changed a whole lot more to the good than not. But back in the day, it was like, well, this homeowner's not going to get another roof for another 20 years, right? Or this building owner is not going to need another roof for 10 years. So they kind of just put them in the filing cabinet, put them in the CRM, and move on. What I love about what you're doing is you're saying, no, build, let's think more like we do with any business in a local community. building that relationship and reminding them that you're there even when they don't need you, but their neighbor or somebody else is going to need you. And I think contractors have to kind of flip that way of thinking.
Yeah. I think, it's a mindset shift, right? And our view is that the value of the customer is way more than the single transaction. And so, the value of the customer is way more than the transaction. So when you start thinking about that and like, what else can that customer really do than just like that specific sale? I think then is when you start appreciating all of the other things that, they're helping with. And importantly, I think it makes you more competitive, in a better competitive position versus the, call it, roofing 1.0 guys that only thinks about the transaction, right? Because the value of a customer is way more than a single transaction, which means that if you care about that customer and you know that eventually they're going to buy back from you, they're going to give you a referral, they're going to give you a review, you can pay more up front for those leads, those competitive lead sources, than the guys that don't do that, right? Because you know that it's not one customer, it's really 3 sales or 4 sales over a period of time.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. Let's talk a little bit about, okay, as a contractor, you've gotten your leads, salesperson has run the job, you don't win it, right? So you don't convert. So you have this whole list of leads out there that have not converted. What's your recommendation? What's some of your advice on how to handle those? We're
big believers in having a system for what we call like a rehash program, right? So it didn't convert. What are you doing to make sure to try to get them to convert a couple, months or days down the road? So we have we put a lot of rehash programs in place, and one of the interesting things that we've noticed as we analyze the data is that the average time from when we put someone into a rehash program, and I'll tell you kind of how our rehash programs are, programs work, but the average time from when they had the appointment, didn't sell, and then when they decided to buy again, was about 2.5 to 3 months. So it's a long time period of time, right? It's, call it 3 months for someone to be, I would say most rehash programs that when we talk to roofers, the salesperson is responsible for following up a couple of weeks later or something like that. But most of the time, I'm guessing it's lasting, maybe 2 weeks, maybe a week. Then they're back to the hottest leads, right? Or maybe it goes back to the call center. They follow up for a week or 2. But what we've seen is that from our program, when we put people on, the average conversion time is about 3 months, which just means, hey, you need a long-term program in place to stay top of mind, to continuously follow up with those homeowners. So, and I'll go into kind of what we typically do in terms of like the system. I think 2 key things. One, you need a process to create those lists, right? So most people that have a CRM have a stage that we can, lock into and then pull that information to. And then we recommend if you have a marketing automation platform or email platform or something, or, gFour, this is typically what we do, put the homeowners into a sequence. Right. And this is a multi-touch sequence. It can be, either just emails. We like to mix it up between emails and direct mail. So maybe you send an email on day 1, follow up with a direct mail piece saying thank you and like a handwritten letter that looks like handwritten in day 7, then a couple more emails, put them into your email newsletter programs that, we do for customers. So add them to your communication channel, make sure that you're still following up. And, I think it's, again, one of those things where you paid for the lead already, which is very expensive. You got in the house already, like maybe just because the homeowner wasn't ready to buy at the time, You shouldn't completely discard them. Stay on top of it. We see really great conversion rates when you continue to work those leads. So from a cost of marketing perspective, super inexpensive, super inexpensive.
That makes so much sense to me, because you might even have a customer who uses another roofing company but doesn't have a good experience. And so they may be looking for someone to come in and fix things, and you're still there. You haven't disappeared.
Exactly.
So there's just so many things in that. So kind of talking about that, I love the fact that gFour works with whatever the contractor has. If they have a CRM program, you work within that. If they have marketing automation, you work within that. What if they don't? There's a lot of contractors out there still who maybe they have a CRM, but they don't have marketing automation, or maybe they don't have either one of them. How do you approach that and kind of help those contractors to bring them into this new way of doing things?
Yeah, we most of the time we're working or plugging in or integrating with the contractor CRM, and then just pulling, if it's completed jobs, weekly basis, and throwing them into these automated nurture campaigns. But if they don't have a CRM, we have a client hub or a portal that you can just send us. Basically, all we need is the homeowner name and email and address, so that we can complete all of the marketing campaigns that we do on their behalf. And we try to put it into a system, right, so that it touches all of the different things that we're talking about. So it's almost like a set it and forget it. Give us the name, we'll nurture it on your behalf. It looks like it's coming from the homeowner, from the business owner. And it's continuous, right? Because also what we don't want is you go 6 months, 12 months without talking to that homeowner, and then you start emailing them asking for jobs and things like that, right? It's
right.
From a homeowner perspective, it's a little bit off-putting. What's going on? I haven't heard from you in 12 months. Why are you starting to email me now? So what we say is you got to set the expectation early on of the continuous communication. Yeah.
And wouldn't you say, as people are listening out there right now and thinking, okay, so I'm communicating with them, what do I say? To me, the strongest things when I get emails as a homeowner, the biggest thing I want is education and new solutions. And I shameless plug, but that's one of the things we work with our contractors here at Roofers Coffee Shop all the time. Is like, this is where you can find all those different types of things, all the new solutions, all the new ideas, new things that you can actually be talking to your customers about. So, and I know you guys help to kind of help them on that nurture thing. So it's not just like, buy from us. It's really more about, we're the coolest. This is why.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it exactly right. Like again, putting the homeowner hat on, like it has to be a little bit of a yin. It's not just ask, right? Buy more. You have to give.
Yes.
Give insightful tips, right, about the product that the roof. Give education, resources. And then at the right time, certain points, you ask, hey, do you have a referral? Do you have a family or friend that might be able to use our products? By the way, we also do this. By the way, we have the special promotion, right? So we try to find the right balance, and we've been working over the past 15 years trying to optimize what is that right balance, right, to get the most engagement and the best customer experience. But yes, absolutely. I think it cannot just be, ask, because that won't get you the results that you want. So, for example, we do quarterly print newsletters on behalf of our customers, right? And we think this is, one of the workhorses of the program, because your competitors can't see what's going into those print newsletters. But the content we put in there is a lot of just fun, recipes, crossword puzzles, like just, general good content that homeowners want to engage with, so it's finding that right mix.
Yeah. talk about that little league team and their success for the season. There's just so many cool things, what you do in the community. I always tell contractors, share it, share it, share it. How can contractors get started with you? With
yeah. Well, you can find us on our website. We have a book a demo page, and we can, just honestly, like we don't even call it demos, just more of a strategy session. We like to go through a lot of the questions we'll ask is, what are you doing for referrals today? Talk to me about your referral program. And then we'll share our best practices. This is what we recommend. Do it with us, do it with someone else. But this is what we're seeing in the industry. What are you doing with past customers? What are you doing with reviews? How do you handle your rehash? And we'll share our best practices, the strategies we help you implement. You can find us on our website. You can shoot me an email, Felipe@gfourmg.com. We'd love to chat and kind of share a little bit more about what we do.
I love it. I think you have the coolest business, and it is really bringing such important strategy, resources, and great business practices to the roofing community and to the roofing contractor. So thank you so much.
No, thank you. And looking forward to seeing everyone and some of the events this year.
We've got a lot of them. So thank you again. And thank you all for listening. This is the information you need for your business. This is the way. Think about that hybrid marketing. How are you doing things different? How can you build those relationships with your past and current and future customers? Be sure to check out the gFour directory on rooferscoffeeshop.com. You can find all of their information there, along with other podcasts, webinars, just great stuff that will help your business. And then go get that strategy meeting. I love that. So many people want to book a demo. You're going to get strategy here. That is really awesome. So also be sure to check out all of our podcasts under the Read, Listen, Watch navigation. Be sure to subscribe and set those notifications so you don't miss a single episode. We'll see you next time on Roofing Road Trips.
If you've enjoyed the ride, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join us on every roofing adventure. Make sure to visit rooferscoffeeshop.com to learn more. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next roofing road trip.